You see that balloon? There you go. You see that balloon? It still wants to be in frame, so I'll let it. I guess when it can no longer even do this, I'll I will release it to the great beyond. Anyway, hello everyone. Today is Sparkling Drink Tuesday, and this is terrible. This is not good. It's apple grape, sparkling apple grape. Apple and grape juice just do not for me, not on my palate. I got it from my grandma. I was like, ooh, this is gonna be such a whatever. And then I tasted it and I'm like, okay, yeah, no, this isn't at all what I thought it was. But anyway, so 1 second. Yeah, I just turned on subscriber only mode. I forgot. I was like, oh, hold up. Not that I don't appreciate like new folks, but it was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot. Plus I feel like it gives people time to like learn me. And so people get to save their time by coming in and being like, hey, can I ask a question? Can I get a card? Can I this? Can I that? And me being like, that this isn't the place for that. But I hope you find what it saves us all time, you know? Hey David, how you doing today? So Queen of Cups in reverse, Ace of Swords upright. I'm using the Diablo Tarot. And there are 4 cards. The Knight of Wands, the Nine of Wands, the Star in reverse, and the King of Cups. Excuse me. I feel like this Nine of Wands shows up a lot with this like it's just like the Reign of Vengeance. I see it like every time I use this deck. And I'm using reversals because the book gives reversals, and there was one time I used this, and the Seven of Swords came out, and I was like, what? And then since then, not all the time, but since then, there'll be some times where I'm like, yeah, that's a little like, because I feel like, again, I'm typically not a person of singular reasoning, meaning that it's just like, I don't believe in singular reasons unless it's a really, really, really convincing reason. So like there are multiple things that go behind the choices and decisions that I make. And I think that just because I might see something in a certain type of way, or just because I might process something in a certain type of way, it's not necessarily always for like relevant to other people. You know what I mean? Contrary to what some may perceive, maybe nobody perceives that. Maybe it's just all me. But anyway, glad to hear that you're good. Today, I felt like shuffling these. Okay, we see the Lovers. I'm going to pull before and after the Seven of Swords. And then I also have the Santa Muerte mini tarot. So pull before and after the cards that come before and after. So just to see what's like up. These cards are huge. These cards are tiny. What has Patrick been up to lately? So Patrick has been softly forced to do the next thing. Softly forced, strongly encouraged. Which kind of sort of actually led to discovery, I guess. Because I want to move. I'm ready to move. I don't necessarily have to move, but I'm very much so desiring a move. And a lot of the moves that I've been wanting to make have been like really far. They've been like coastal. I'm located in the Midwest. There was, well, I guess Texas is like not necessarily on the coast, but it's a lot more coastal than where I am. Um, but also, it's been like New York, North Carolina, Oregon, Washington, California. And I didn't, I guess, until just maybe an hour or two ago, I wasn't as open to stay. I guess I could, like, I wouldn't be opposed to it. Anyway, strongly forces something. That's the. I guess it's more so just like it's time to move. And in order to move on one thing, I had to do something that I've been needing to do for a minute anyway. So I was like, I guess it's time to go. Okay, so first I'm gonna shuffle these until I get a card. Okay, that was immediate. And then I'm finished the shuffle. And then from the bottom of the deck, I'll look before and after. The Seven of Swords. Three of Pentacles upright, Five of Swords in reverse. Honestly, this is so relatable. I guess I just reached. So while I'm in my I don't mind being the villain era, I saw somebody uploaded a video of like 4 signs that are in their villain era this year or whatever. It's so not great, but I'm gonna finish it. While I am in my I don't mind being the villain era, I'm also like very much so in my not interested in villainy era. And not that like I'm simultaneously in my like I don't mind being the villain era, but also in my like wanting things to just like work out or desiring harmony era. Like they are occurring simultaneously. And sometimes in pursuit of a greater harmony, there are some things that need to be like said, done, pointed out, whatever. Sometimes there are actions, choices, decisions that must be made, words that must be spoken, thoughts that must be communicated in order to really concretely and in a substantial way move towards harmony. And that's like the part of my I don't mind being a villain because like that's what I'm wanting. And if it's something that's required, that may be like if there's a difficult conversation that needs to be had in order for a mutual understanding to be reached, I'm in my like I'd rather have that difficult conversation so we can get over it, work through it. And so like this Three of Pentacles upright, Five of Swords in reverse, like is very much so the vibe. Because I was in my Five of Swords upright era for a minute, forever. Excuse me, not forever, but it's just like, I don't know. All right, let's look for the Seven of Swords. I'm also in my like re-empathizing era, which has been it's been tough. I remember I know so clearly why I refuse the label of empath. and why I distanced myself from like being an empath or whatever. And I know there are some empaths that may be like, if you're an empath, you can't stop being an empath. Like it's not something that you can turn on or turn off. And if to you, I'd say you obviously don't know Patrick. that is my greatest flaw and maybe my greatest strength. It's my ability to just go, I don't care what happens to me. If it's no, it's a no. If you're like, Patrick, if you stop breathing, you're going to die. And if I don't feel like breathing, I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to die then. Today is the day, or whenever my body expires from a lack of oxygen. I'm better now, but it's my Taurus moon and rising. I'm a first house stubborn Taurus moon. I can't help it. I feel like I'm operating with like half a deck. Or not necessarily half, but there it is. Goodness. Like these are all the cards I went through. These are all the cards that were left. It was really close to the top of the deck. I pulled from the bottom. Speaking of my Taurus moon and my Taurian flaws, there's the Hierophant. The Knight of Cups is before the Hierophant. So it's the Hierophant, Seven of Swords. It's actually in reverse. And the Fool, after the Fool is the Wheel of Fortune. This is like so accurate. I almost like came on and talked about it yesterday, but I was like, I just want to get through the booster pack. I don't want to necessarily like project too much, or I don't want to like speak on how I've been sort of like feeling too much because I want the cards to be what they are. You know what I mean? Three of Pentacles upright, Five of Swords in reverse. Hierophant upright, Seven of Swords in reverse. The Fool upright, the Wheel of Fortune upright. 5 plus 7 is 12. So it's like the Hanged Man of Swords in reverse, which would be like the Hanged Man in reverse is like upright. What am I doing? It's fine. The Hierophant and the Fool. Now, pictorially, the Fool is walking back to the Hierophant. And I guess it's also interesting because in the Seven of Swords, there's a guy, like this is a vertical, papal sort of type figure. But papal, clerical sort of type figure is in reverse while the Hierophant is upright. And it makes me think of like when I was younger and I was struggling to differentiate Christians from Christ. And like the attitudes and behaviors and just the way that like people sort of like went about living their lives. And then I was like, well, if this is like, if this is reflective of like Jesus, I'm not interested. But at the same time, it was like the divine that I know from my personal relationship and the divine and like the God that I see or hear about, they're not necessarily like vastly different, but there are differences. And so I was religious for a while. I would tell people like, yeah, me and Jesus, like we're on a break. And it was almost mostly, if I can remember, it was just like a self-absorbedness, or like so much self-consideration or self-focus. It was so much self-centricism, not necessarily always at the expense of others, but it didn't like make sense or line up to me. And in a lot of ways, you could say I'm in a similar point in position now. Because it's like some things, it's like if we really believed in this loving, divine, whatever, like would things not be different? Would we not be different? Would the world not be different? How can we so easily embrace and support some things that at this day and age in this time that so clearly and obviously come at the detriment of others who have not earned the ire that they're treated with? And it's like, to me, again, like it's this huge disparity between like if God is love or if the source is love, then like where is that love? Like where is it? And it's the things that we sort of allow or accept or overlook or consider a part of the game or a cost when it doesn't have to be. And again, it's like it's just a disconnect for me. Um, and I talked about it like in terms of like sovereignty, like how it's like sovereignty and being emperor, empress, the whatever goes out the window as soon as whatever. But anyway, I guess you could say this is accurate. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world, and I'm like, Strength, the Queen of Cups, and the Tower, bottom three cards, and then the Queen of Pentacles is right there. I am primarily Earth and Water. I'm 4-3-2-1 in a lot of places. What's my specific? I think it's 4 Earth, 3 Water, 2 Air, 1 Fire. And then even the quadrants of my birth chart are like 4-3-2-1. It's like 4. Where's the 4? 1, 2, 4, 3, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Strength, the Queen of Cups, and the Tower are the bottom of the deck. I'm looking for the Hierophant and the Fool. Hey, there's the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune is in between the 9 of Cups and the title card. I'm going to take it because the Wheel of Fortune is here. I like that. I love the title card because I'm like, what's next? Like, what's the game plan here? Just throw the whole game away. Just toss the whole board. Let's see. The Empress, the Hierophant, and the King of Cups. Empress is Venus, so that's like Venus Taurus energy with the King of Cups. This is like how many cards? Again, a lot of these are at the top, so this is like, girl, we all know, okay? It's evident. That's how many cards I went through. That's the deck minus 6 cards. The Fool is in between the 9 of Wands and the 7 of Cups. And then the 7 of Pentacles and the 9 of Pentacles are on the outside. I don't know if I've already passed the Knight of Cups, because I kind of wasn't really paying attention to the Knight of Cups. Yeah, I did. I already passed it. Cool. I still don't know what it is that I necessarily think I'm doing or plan on doing, but I think too, with the 7 of Swords in reverse, it has been this like whatever I think or however I feel like I am communicating it actually, instead of just silently being like, what is happening? I can't believe blah 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 whatever. It's like, I'm gonna speak on it. I gotta go to the restroom. I will be right back. This thing is like running through me. I did have like 2 oranges and an apple, but that shouldn't have me running to the restroom. I'll be right back. Ooh, awake. I'm there, Craigs. This room doesn't get like a lot of ventilation, so anyway. Um. Oh, the book. Let's read the book. The Hierophant, upright, tradition, knowledge, spiritual awareness. The old ways have much to offer you. Their traditional wisdom and practices allow the spirit to ascend to great heights. Seek out those who offer spiritual training or education. Embrace discipline and chase knowledge. Take a calm, steady approach grounded in your deepest values. Your ideals must take precedence over gain, fame, or sloth. Very much so that, like, grounded in my deepest values and considering my ideals, which is where a lot of that, like, just kind of, again, it's like personal. So, the Fool, you are at the crossroads. Here is the beginning of all adventures. Accurate. Ignore the voice of your ego and of others who would call you foolish. In your heart, you know the voice of your faith and which road is yours to tread. Gather your courage, pack lightly, and make the leap. Interesting how it mentions faith, because the Hierophant is also associated with faith. It's leap of faith and spiritual awareness. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's just like, so I talked about it. I'm not the type of person who can necessarily, like, I don't believe that my success has to come at the misfortune of another. And I don't believe that the success of another negatively impacts my ability to succeed. So, like, I'm the type of person that genuinely, like, can celebrate, like, achievement and success and accomplishment for others and not feel like threatened or worried about it. Like, especially when it comes to my friends, like, seeing my friends do well and succeed and, like, have their dreams come true, like, it makes my heart warm. It makes my inside smile. And I was going somewhere with that. Oh, yeah, and likewise, like, I don't necessarily, it's like I don't want to be at my best. I don't know how to necessarily word it. I feel like I'm out of breath for some reason. Let me breathe, I guess. Let me catch my breath and try to find the words. I mean, like I said, I've already said it. In my personal life, there's so much space that I'm being given to really decide how I want to move forward. Like, there's so much grace that I found. Like, when I did the Pluto retrograde and the deck challenge was like, can you receive these coins? Like, that's when I was like, it was accurate. Because in this major transition, I don't even know if this is necessarily a major transition at this point. In this transition in my life, again, like, I'm supported. Everything happened and aligned in a way that financially I'm taken care of. Um, and I have the space to really consider what it is that I want to do next and where I want to go and all of this stuff. But at the same time, it's like, if I look at the world at large, things that are still continuing and getting worse are happening. And it's not that I ever necessarily, like, didn't feel that or shut my feelings off to that, or it's not that I ever necessarily, like, specifically avoided it, but I feel like there would be times when it was like, okay, like, this is getting heavy, like, let me disconnect or whatever. And, like, for folks who that's for, like, that's fine. If you can't, if it's not do what you need to do. But I just reached a point in my life where it's like, while I'm simultaneously in this super open, I feel like I can make any choice go anywhere. Like, what do I really want to do? I can't ignore what is happening. And I refuse to intentionally distract myself from it because I have the privilege and the luxury to. Like, that's not the kind of person that I am, and it's not the kind of world that I want to live in. And it's been like tough, honestly. And like I said, I'm like, I remember why I decided that the empath life was not for me. And it's kind of like not demoralizing. I feel like demoralizing isn't necessarily the word. I will say, though, it makes it challenging to, and I guess it's also been this like the people that I specifically follow on my social media, most of them, it's like everyone who I've seen that has something to say is on the side of like treating people with, at this point, like it's not even like basic human decency, because I feel like basic human decency is so much more than what we think it is or what we communicate it to be. Um, but it's like the people, like I feel like my faith in humanity is being bolstered at the same rate that like, so I guess it wavers. There are some days when I'm like, okay, at least I know that people like care. So that as we move forward into the future, or even now, there's going to be more and more and more of us hopefully making choices and decisions that will prevent something like this from happening, but at the same time, that will make attempts to do whatever can be done to make things as right as they can be made. Um, but then it's like, it's just like, it's almost like, how did we get here in the first place? How has humanity fallen so? It's, and again, like it's so interesting that there are so many faiths all over the world that are about like love, that are supposed to be about like love at their core, and there are so many people who claim to subscribe to and follow love and whatever, and it's like, but if that were true, like the math ain't mathin'. And also at the same time, it's like I feel like we are decently complex creatures. Like we are capable of handling, we are capable of addressing multiple things at the same time. And there is no one person who is being asked to be accountable for every single thing happening that's not right, or that is right, either way. But sometimes it'll be like, well, it's like we have this limited capacity, or there'll be like things where it's like this is also happening in this other place, and somebody will be like, yeah, but like if we were to address the crisis happening over there, then that would affect our supply of whatever. As if it's almost like we selectively see and forget some things. Like when something is a valuable resource from a place, they like export it, right? Like, don't we already have imports, exports? Aren't there already systems in place for the exchange of goods and services? Why is it this? Again, it's like, I don't understand. Like, we have all of the tools, all of the information, but depending on the context, we act as if things are like impossible or there is no solution. I'm waiting for my number one fan. I think we're going in today. We may not be. So that's why I keep checking my phone. Um, and it's like, but also at the same time, I'm the type of person who will sacrifice comfort. Like, if the solution means that, hey, things are going to get rough for a minute and it's going to be chaotic and crazy and nobody's going to know what's happening while we figure this out, I'm like, okay, well, like, let's do that instead of just continuing to do the thing that we know isn't working because we don't know how we're going to manage this period of uncertainty, as if the better option is to just keep going at the same pace, as if the best option is to continue adding fuel to the fire to watch it all burn down quicker. It's like, I don't know. But again, maybe it's just me, or people act like, again, like we can't do multiple things at once, like we can't multitask. Or people will make it seem as if certain things that aren't in our best of interests are, and vice versa. Like healthcare, they'll be like, oh, like that doesn't work. But then, like, there are all these countries where it's like it's a thing. It's not as complicated, but I guess we're special and we're unique and the system is broken. And then when a whole bunch of people lost their jobs in 2020, 2021, and insurance was tied to the job, and now all of a sudden people are placed in situations like, why do we have to be pushed to the brink? Why do we have to experience such extremes when we already know what ails us? I don't know. That's just where my mind has been. So it's been this mixture of like frustration and anger and being upset, and also like seeing all of the amazing people that are out there, seeing that times are changing, seeing that the building blocks for a better future are very much so there. And not only that, but there are people who are like using them, building with them, seeing certain conversations like coming from taboo to the mainstream, like us actually having certain discussions. And yeah, there's like a period of hypervigilance or whatever that can be almost expected, but the end result, like when it balances out, when it plays out, it's to be better. And again, like that's what I want to build with and build towards Three of Pentacles energy, because I'm just like, but I don't know. I also feel like you shouldn't have to, I don't know. Like I said it a long time ago. The whole argument that we have more in common than we do differences. We're all the same. It's so like inefficient. It's just like, and there's so much ego behind that, where it's like, why would anyone think that someone has to be like them in order to deserve like decency and respect, and to like, you know what I mean? Like, who makes who the standard for somebody to have to be like them in order to warrant some kind of care or compassion? And then so we go from group to group to group to group to group, finding our similarities, tallying up the points until there's more in common than differences for them to be like. And it's like, or we could just learn to accept different people. We could learn to accept differences. We can learn that we don't have to be the same in order to treat somebody with decency and kindness. But and again, there's some kind of disconnect between all of the teachings and how we live our lives, because if not, like, the world would not be what it is. I don't know. I guess I didn't need cards to say this. I needed to get it off my chest though, for real. And honestly, like I'm at the point where I'm like, you know what? Maybe 5D Earth will be different. Up until recently, I've been of the stance that, like, it's the same Earth. Like, it's not like we're gonna wake up one day and everything is magically suddenly gonna be different. Like, we live our lives from day to day to day. And while, yes, there are leaps of faith, there are quantum leaps, there are a lot of things, there's also continuity in our consciousness. Unless we were to die, I guess, and come back and forget parts or have memories implanted or whatever. Like there's continuity in consciousness. Things aren't necessarily going to just happen. We have to be the ones in our personal lives and as a collective of individuals to move things along. But now I'm like, hey, maybe there will be a split. And the people, the folks who want to continue going from the top to the bottom to the top to the bottom of the wheel can continue to go from the top to the bottom and spiral. And those who really want to move forward in a real, like, in a way that is collective and more than just name. Like for those who are willing to take on all of the duties and tasks and responsibilities to actually bring peace and harmony, rather than try to sweep everything that doesn't align with that under the rug and pretend like it doesn't exist. And again, like the wildest thing to me is that when we are the person who is being disregarded and treated like we don't exist, when our suffering isn't being talked about, we expect so much from other people. We want so badly for someone else to like hear us or see us. But when it's happening to someone else, we're so quick to just be like, oh. Again, I guess at some point as humans, we have to believe that we are worthy or deserving of so much more than other people, that our lives are worth so much more, or there's inherently so much more meaning, that we can just so quickly and easily disregard and discount others or treat people as if in their suffering as if they're not there. But I just like we are getting better. Hopefully we'll get there in time. But I don't know everything. I don't know nothing. Title card came out with the Nine of Cups on this Wheel of Fortune over here. Clarifying the Wheel of Fortune. That means, and it's the Santa Muerte title card. What does that mean? I don't know. I didn't even look at this Wheel of Fortune, did I? I think to really break cycles, it requires us to look at and to see things that we may not necessarily. And at some level, we know the truth. At some level, we all know the truth. And it's obvious and evident and apparent. If you were to ask someone, I guess that's another thing that's interesting. I think a lot of times people be like, oh, there are no problems, there are no issues. Everything is like perfect. All of the world's woes have been solved. But then if you ask them if they want to be on the other side, it's no. Or there's this fear of becoming a minority. There's this fear of the positions changing. But it's like, if there are no problems, if there are no issues, why would there be that fear? Like I had my bed to myself. When I go to bed, I don't worry about if I'm going to sleep on the left side or the right side. I don't have a preference. I go to, I get in the car and yeah, I'm a little taller. So the back seat may not be as comfortable as the front seat, but I'm not going to fight over, you know. I feel like the metaphor didn't necessarily fully connect, but the point is, like, if everything were truly what so many of us are so quick to claim it to be, there would be no problem, no issue, no hassle, no worry, no fear, no agenda that would be able to even stand on the premise that, well, what if the dynamics were to change? Like, then you know the truth. We all know the truth. And again, like, it's so crazy that it's like, well, what if this were happening to you? What if that was your mom, your brother, your son, your dog? How would you feel then? And it's like, why do we have to be at the center of something to care about it? Like, where does that come from? Doesn't God love all of us? Doesn't the divine love everybody, even the folks who aren't like us? I guess I'll keep this one up, even though I feel like I'm gonna try to. I mean, the Empress and the King of Cups clarifying the Hierophant. I mean, like, it's been no secret. I feel like from the very beginning, the life that I wish to live, the life that I like manifest for myself, it extends to the world that I want to live in. It extends to the people that I want to encounter. And again, I guess like I am encountering more and more and more and more people who are capable of actually being compassionate and considerate and kind and caring. People who will like actually look beyond the so thinly veiled whatever to see the truth in the heart of the matter. Where it's like, even if things were to be as they are at some point, it's like the ends have to justify the means, the costs have to justify whatever. And we celebrate such small victories when we could have greater ones if only we were to change, or if only we were to stop and navigate in a different way. Like, we could have billions and we celebrate pennies. Every cent matters, but in comparison, it's like, again, it's just like slow and inefficient. I don't know. What? I feel like I need another deck. Let's see. There's one in particular. Is it this one? It is this one. I need more happy decks. I have the Happy Tarot. Let me grab the Happy Tarot. Maddie, you gifted it to me. And it should be right here. No, that's the tarot over the rainbow. Where's the Happy Tarot? Look at my flashlight. Where's the Happy Tarot? Is it here? No, that's the Idrisu. I must have put it somewhere. Fine. I'm not gonna waste any more time searching for it. I feel like I pulled it out recently, maybe. I'll just use the universe as your back cards. It is validated and affirmed again the world in which I wish to live. I'm just gonna get one of these. All right. That was immediate. Joy is the ultimate creator. Let's get two more. Oh, and that's two. Thank you. My energy creates my reality. What I focus on is what I will manifest. My vibes speak louder than my words. And then joy is the ultimate creator is the other card. Bottom of the deck is the moment I realign with love, clear direction is presented to me. Maybe this is Seven of Swords. This is very Seven of Swords reverse. I mean, I go here every now and then. But lately, it's just like, and I look at what I was taught. Like, I grew up Christian. I grew up in the church. And there was so much about the end days and like the book of Revelations, movies like Left Behind and Megiddo or whatever. And they painted the story in a certain type of way. And then it's like when reality almost catches up to the story, it's a whole different case and scenario. And it's like it is, but it isn't, but it is. Because in some ways, I feel like in a lot of ways, when it comes to people too, there are leaders or people in positions of power that aren't necessarily reflective of those that they lead, but they are capable of like playing up on shadows, bringing out darkness, and then whipping people into frenzies, having them do things that I don't know. And it's also interesting. There's so many things that are like so telling, I feel like lately. Like how there were all the protests about the mask mandates and like social distancing and stuff, and how there were so many people that felt valid in protesting that. But then, what, a short time later, there's all the Black Lives Matter protests. And then all of a sudden, it's like, well, you shouldn't be protesting. You shouldn't be doing this. You should be abiding by local law enforcement. It's like, girl, y'all were just 20, 30, 40 deep in the park protesting wearing a mask for the safety of you and other people. But like when people are out here being like actually murdered, then it's like you should follow the rules. Like you get the war in Ukraine and all of the outpouring, like, and you saw like again, like nobody should be going through anything. But there are places and countries that like aren't even accepting refugees, but now like the Ukrainian refugees get a free pass right in, and then like war breaks out in Gaza. And it's like it's so black and white in comparison. It's like it's right there. There was something else too. I forgot what it was. It's just like, I'd like to play in generalities and not be specific, but I'm Seven of Swords in reverse, North Node Sagittarius. Call it out. And again, it's like if people really cared about what they claim to care about, the world would be different. If it was really about the hostages would have been freed. But the man himself has said, we're not interested in a ceasefire. And then I see all these articles at the top of the article, or they spend so much time focusing on victims, like bearing the burden of peace, while the perpetrators of violence have doubled, tripled, quadrupled down on their dedication to violence. I don't know. Well, this title card is here. That's I guess that's where my faith is. Or maybe that's where I need to put my faith. And that I don't know everything. And anything can happen. And the world events can turn out different or better. It's just like, I don't know, big devil energy. Just like I played Dante's Inferno. And again, like we have so much history and historical context. We live so much of our lives, sometimes faced with the same choices and decisions, even in our own personal lives. We have so much historical context to know what is right, what is wrong, what will and what won't work. Like if hindsight can tell us, hey, that was wrong, how can we feel so justified in the present? All of these things that we promised or that we said would never happen again, and here we are. It's the hypocrisy of humanity, I guess. Not that I'm any different. I told my friend, I'm a new Patrick. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. No, I've been support. I feel like again, there are so many things that for me to consider in my own life. I'm not, especially if I don't have to. I try not to be one to rush, even when I have to. I'm just naturally slow paced with a lot of stuff. Like if I have to rush to get ready in the morning, I'll be like rushing and then I'll forget that I need to keep rushing and then I'll slow down and then I'll look at the clock and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be rushing. But again, I think when we rush, when we hurry, we miss, excuse me, so many things. The logic ain't logic and the math ain't math. And just it's like if I am to believe that I have the power to manifest whatever in my life, how can I not also look at the world around me? And how could I not also want the world around me to like thrive and for people to just like, I don't know. I feel like that's a lot of this. I don't know if there's anything on the table. I mean, at this point, it's been almost an hour, and I don't know if any of this, like again, the fool to the Hierophant. I guess finding the truth of a lot of things and to not limit it by human perception of what is and what isn't possible. Even mine. Again, like title card is here. Things can work out better. The Nine of Wands and the Seven of Cups before and after this Fool. The Fool is holding a butterfly. This In this Seven of Cups, it's like the Ace of Cups is being presented to the Six of Cups. And even the cupboard with the heart on it almost it makes me think of the heart on the suitcase of the Fool. Maybe I have too much faith in humanity. Maybe I see people as more capable. I mean, I honestly accurate. Accurate. Which is why I now try to see things as they are rather than to get a glimpse and imagine what they will be or what they must be. This Knight of Wands is almost standing ready to like. This Knight of Wands is so interesting though, because even with where she's looking, I'm trying to count the wands. There's some of these that she's like reaping. It's almost like she's reaping 5 wands, the 5 red ones in the front for the 4 like branches in the back to continue growing. There's like weeding. Even some of these cups are like overgrown or inaccessible with the 6 cups in the cupboard. Oh, the King and Queen of Cups is here. Strength, Queen of Cups, the Tower, the Empress, the Hierophant, the King of Cups. Excuse me. I already pulled these cards. Part of me is like, I should just end this. Another part of me is like, well, we're this deep into it. We might as well keep going. Let's see. What can help Patrick not be a ball of rage? And again, like I'm upset about things that I should be upset about. I'm angry about things that I should be angry about. So I'm not going to gaslight myself into thinking I shouldn't feel whatever I feel just because I have the privilege of not going through something personally. And it's so wild. I feel like that it's an experience that not everyone has. How wild it is for something to happen and then to like face social media, like to be exposed to the true, especially like personal social media, like if it's your friends or family, like for something to happen and then to be exposed to the true thoughts and feelings of people. And then it's like, well, if you really feel this way about that, then like it doesn't inspire confidence about how you feel about me. Like how quick you would be to, again, it's a revealer of things. But again, like I said, and I made a post on my Instagram, I was like, it's different than what it used to be, for sure. And I know I was telling Reem about it. Like one of the things that really breaks my heart is that like this is the same Gaza, this is the same Palestine that has like stood with the rest of the world. Like when things were happening to other people, they were like, we stand with you, we support you. And now this has been happening to them for months. And like there is that support. And I guess that's another thing that like bolsters my faith in humanity. Like I've seen people in real life and online like bringing awareness and attention and like protesting. I was in London and there was like a dude with the Palestinian flag on his bike and he was riding through like I've and there was like a march. Like I've seen it both digitally and in real life, but it's like, man. But I guess that's also history. Like how many peoples in the history in this land that I live in have been there in support of others who were told to wait their turn only to be left behind, disregarded, and discarded as soon as somebody else got what they wanted. And like even in my own life, like I made a choice to get my foot in the door somewhere to eventually work up for that to not be the case. And it's like, why not just go for what I want? Or why not just go where I want? Like, why do I have to wait? Why do I have to, like, why? If we really cared about one another, the world would be different. If we really cared about one another, we could help each other and it not be a, well, wait until I get mine and then I'll help you get yours. And it's again, it's so interesting, even in like outside of larger scale things in our own personal lives, we can meet people or come across people who'll be like, oh yeah, like let's work together on this. And then it becomes, well, like, well, you help me with this and you help me with that. And then if you were to speak up and be like, hey, like, when are we going to do the thing that I want to do? Like, when is it going to be time to reciprocate? It's like, oh, well, after I get what I want or where I want to go, or after I become who I want to be, then I'll help you. It's like, or we could just, I don't know, do it all at once, you know? Maybe it's because I don't put human limitations on the divine or on the tools that the divine has left for us to create with, like laws of manifestation or whatever. That I'm not like, oh well, let me focus on my own personal life. And then when I get to where I want to be, then I'll look at the rest of the world. And it's like, no. Like, why would I do that? If I'm gonna believe in an omnipotent, ever present power that works beyond my scale of understanding, why would I do that? That's not even what I want. I could just shuffle these cards, yeah, because as long as these sit on the table, yeah. I guess it's interesting because I've met so many people in my life who play the role of support for others. And I've been that. But I ask sometimes, I'm like, okay, well, like, who's there to help you? Or who do you lean on when you need support? And people be like, I don't have anybody. And it's like, girl, what? Oh, look at this little Four of Cups. This is little Patrick. Just like, but we see the truth. And like we operate inside the confines that we operate within, but still, I don't know. I'm a Pisces though. You know, I'm a Pisces with a ginormous 12th house that holds my Venus and my Mercury and my Black Moon Lilith. Ooh. I'm a dreamer. I'm like, it doesn't make sense. And I think, honestly, that was a lot of, or that played a part in when I became religious. Because it was like the world, like there are these things happening in the world at large. Like, what's another new car? What's another dream vacation? Like, if our basic needs are met and we can even like have the things that we desire, why do we tend towards greed and excess when there are things that could go to helping like others? I guess I've always been that kind of person though. All right. 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 1 second. Let's get something else. What can Patrick be hopeful for in the world at large? And again, like I understand the position that I'm in my own personal life, and I'm so grateful for where I am. And I'm so grateful to be supported in the ways that I am. But the dichotomy is just like, girl. Okay. I kind of wanted to do a spread. I am gonna do it. I have one more shuffle. I'm gonna pull before and after the Empress. And then, oops, I'm gonna have to find it. I don't know if it's my best time, honestly. Excuse me. Let's see. It might be on my laptop, or it might be here if I'm lucky. I don't know. I should. If I haven't, I need to put these files on here. No. I didn't. I don't. Oh, wow. I can pull it up on my phone, I'm sure. I just wanted to have it on the big screen. Yes. No. Yes. 3. Oh. Wait a second. Can I like? I don't know what I'll do. Thankfully, I've sent all of these. Amanda! What? When did I email Amanda? Thankfully, I emailed all of these. There we go. Bada 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 bow. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay, we're gonna do this. But first, I'm gonna pull before and after the Empress. Why the Empress in particular? I don't know. I might just be live for hours today. Just one really, really, really long. The things I've been wanting to do live. I guess the floodgates are open. Eight of Pentacles in reverse, the World upright, and the Ten of Swords in reverse with the Hermit upright at the bottom of the deck. The Eight of Pentacles, because these are pages of a book, Eight of Pentacles in reverse with the World upright. It's this, maybe it's a comfort. I'm feeling comforted by it. Like, not only do we not know everything, but the world is capable of giving us, showing us, providing things that are miraculous, that are completely unexpected, unprecedented, or out of the blue. It operates above and beyond our perceptions and capabilities. All right, Empress. Is everything at the top of the deck? Hello? Look how, like, that's how many cards I left. This is how many cards I had to get through to find the Empress. Ten of Cups with the Eight of Swords in reverse. Okay. Ten of Cups, Empress in reverse. Nine of Swords upright. Six of Swords in reverse. Six of Swords in reverse, Eight of Swords in reverse. There's this energy of there's an energy of not needing to go anywhere to find what it is that one is seeking, but not. The Nine of Swords can be things that prevent us from seeing what's in front of our eyes. Maybe the Nine of Swords is facing it, though, so it won't remain unseen, and we'll learn that we don't have to go that far. Also, with the Empress in reverse, I guess it's also not something that we need, create, or manifest, or attract, because it's already in the works. It's already happening. And it meets us where we are. Interesting. I don't know how this is going to work. I want to redo this. I've been wanting to get back into spread building for a minute now, but my little surface is busted. Ooh, Ten of Pentacles in reverse. Okay. I actually don't mind the Ten of Pentacles in reverse here because the Ten of Pentacles is a card of dynasties, multi-generational, whatever. It could be a breaking in the chain. Oh, I'm not looking at the bottom of the deck. Okay, I'll give it 3 more. It's already 5 o'clock. That is not happening today. King of Cups in reverse. Is this whole deck in reverse? No. I have reversals in here. King of Cups in reverse. Justice in reverse. 10 of Cups. Again, upright. The Devil upright. The Lovers upright. Judgment. Queen of Pentacles. The Chariot. Nine of Cups. The Fool in reverse. The High Priestess in reverse. And the Two of Swords in reverse. Are these? Yeah, there are reversals in here. Cool. Didn't do that on purpose. Ooh, the World is next. The World, the Emperor, and the Eight of Swords. I'm just like lining these up. I'm not super particular all the time, but when I am. But I don't have like any Virgo in my chart, so it's never what I want it to be. So I always just end up accepting that it's not going to be perfect anyway. Not that anyone is necessarily perfect, but cool. Nine of Swords and 10 of Cups. Nine of Swords and 10 of Cups energy together almost looks like the Nine of Wands. But the thing is behind. We just saw the Nine of Wands in the Santa Muerte. And she was cutting 5 of those wands. Excuse me. I'm hungry. Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords upright. Obsessive thoughts, nightmares, and worry. Sometimes the most frightening landscape is the one in your mind. Yours has been working overtime, and now you are on a carousel of obsessive thoughts that may disturb your sleep. No one has yet invented a cure for this common human condition. Cope as best you can, address what you are able, and try to get some rest. Fortunately, these phases pass. 10 of Cups. Sometimes life is wearying. Return home to comfort, peace, and love. Returning home to comfort, peace, and love provides a much needed respite from the trials of life. You are refreshed and ready to start a new day. Sharing with others multiplies joy and divides trouble. You have those who help you and who can help you. No matter what the world brings, you can face it knowing you are supported. Aww. And then I got this. No wonder why. One second. Oh, okay. I actually love this. I'm like, how do I even use this? So I have a shorthand version of this that I guess I'll look at first. So the seed of something is the King of Cups in reverse and Justice in reverse. What you doing? I'm like, it's already 5 o'clock. I'm not trying to go to the gym now. I ain't gonna tell her that I'm live though. So the seed is the King of Cups in reverse with Justice in reverse. What it needs to grow is the Ten of Cups, the Devil, and the Lovers. Because Justice is in reverse here, it feels like the Devil as something that this needs. It's related to Justice in reverse. It's almost like it's that one episode of Black Mirror where they were like killing roaches or whatever, and they have these like augmented reality things, and one of the soldiers, his thing ends up breaking, and he sees that the roaches are actually people, like they've been murdering people. And then it was like in the year or whatever, there was this technology that could look at someone's genetic makeup and what illnesses and stuff that they carry predispositions to. And in order to make the human race as strong and whatever as possible, they decided to just start killing people who would have offspring that aren't the perfect mold of the ideal human. But in order, see, that's the thing. In order to actually do it, they had to see the people as less than people. It's like they had to see them as these roaches, they called them, I think, in order to be comfortable with killing them. But once they saw them as people, it's this huge, like, I can't do that. So I guess step number one is to get people to not even see people as people. Because then if you don't see somebody as a person, then you can do anything. You can justify anything, any kind of mistreatment. Well, they had it coming. But it's like, it's crossed with the Chariot. Crossing the Lovers is Judgment. Crossing the Devil is the Chariot. Crossing the Ten of Cups is the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles crossing the Ten of Cups, it is actions. Like the Ten of Cups is like the ability to connect with somebody, but the Queen of Pentacles, like that connection is it's substantiated by something. Blocking the Lovers is Judgment, or crossing the Lovers is Judgment. I guess it is a blockage. So the Lovers is this important realization that we have, but it's blocked by Judgment consciously. The conscious blockage to the Lovers is Judgment. I think this can also involve this Judgment feels a little bit more self-critical. It's whenever we reach a point of understanding with somebody else, and maybe it's someone that we haven't necessarily treated the best, or we don't feel that we've done all that we could by them. And so when we have this change of heart, or when we can see somebody for who they are, then we start to feel, then there's a possibility for us to feel guilty about the things that we've done. Like there have been, like, not necessarily to the same degree, but in the same way, like there was this one guy who would always try to like be friendly towards me in one of my classes. It was like when Patrick on campus, especially early Patrick on campus, there were a few different versions. There were like two. Most people met the version of Patrick that wasn't trying to get to know anybody, wasn't trying to connect with anybody, and was very standoffish. And there was this one dude who was in one of my Japanese classes who would like always try to be friendly. And I was just like not having it. And then that year, our final project was to do a life story or something like that, but in Japanese. And I found out that like he had it rough growing up and he was like bullied and all kinds of other stuff. And of course, like it made me feel terrible. I was like, wow, like this guy was just trying to like be my friend. And here I am being all standoffish or whatever because of whatever I'm going through. And like he was just trying to connect. And now that I know that, like, and it was literally like during finals. So I didn't have the time to be like, oh, it was just like I was shown at the end of the semester, like, this is the person who was like trying to connect to you, and this is how you treated them. And I was like, wow, like I felt bad. Now, again, like I'm the kind of person who I don't mind feeling bad. I don't desire it. I'm weird. I'm a weirdo. Okay. So there's a part of me that doesn't desire it, but there's another part of me that wants to grow. And so, in order for me to want to grow, I have to also, at some level, want to be called out when I make a mistake, or like I want to know when I've like messed up. It doesn't necessarily feel good, but I'd rather know so that I can do better than continue staying stagnant because I'm not willing to face the truth. Like I'm the type of person that loves to learn. So if I'm learning, there are things that I don't know that I'm going to get some information on. So I can't, like, I'm human, so I could, but in order for me to want to grow and learn, I have to be open to being wrong and getting stuff wrong. Like those two things almost have to simultaneously be true. How can I learn something that I already know? How can I grow if I'm already fully matured? You know what I mean? And it just like it helped. Well, when the time came, I guess, for me to open up, it helped inform that like, and like that wasn't the only case where that's happened. There have been other times when like I've made a certain choice or decision and then more information comes out or I become aware of more, and it's like if I had known that, I would have navigated differently. Like I just thought he was some annoying guy who was like trying to get too far. I'm like, I'm here for 50 minutes, 3 days a week or 5 days a week because we rotated classes. When this semester is over, I'm never gonna see you again. You're never gonna see me again. Let's just spend our time here and then go about our lives. And I was just like, whoa, oh my god. Like he had taken like self-defense classes and everything. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I was like, yeah, this is the guy that you've been a meanie to. But anyway, it's something like that. I think this is why there's a conscious blockage with the lovers, why judgment is a conscious blockage to the lovers. I think even in other scenarios and situations, it's like if I were to take this stance, or if I were to make this choice, or if I was to support this person here, what would that say about all of this other stuff? And because I'm not willing to acknowledge or face all of this other stuff, I have to also refuse to acknowledge this in terms of like some kind of continuity, I guess. And that becomes another blockage, another conscious blockage to moving forward in a different way. King of Cups in reverse, Justice in reverse. If we were to try to come into a justice energy, if we were to try to turn justice upright, or the King of Cups upright, is to acknowledge that it was in reverse. And we are so concerned with not wanting to, it's almost like we as people are more concerned with being perceived as the bad guy than we are with actually being the bad guy. But I guess it makes sense because we as people, sometimes we only feel regret or remorse when we get caught doing something. And it's like, oh, well, if I had known that I would have gotten caught, I wouldn't have done it. And it's like, oh, so you're not like sorry for doing it. You're just sorry that you got caught. Got it. But it's a very human thing. And it would be to acknowledge something. It's already 5 o'clock. Hmm. Whenever she says, I'm gonna see what she says. So what is this? The subconscious motive is the devil, and the conscious fear is the chariot. I think so. There is, it almost feels like judgment crossing the lovers is all of the self stuff. Like, what does it mean about me, or what does it say about me if I were to, at 7, 1 second. I gotta use the restroom again. I'll be right back. I feel like I didn't drink that much. I don't know why this is just like running through me. This King of Cups in reverse, this feels like a cold hearted. I feel like with the King of Cups upright, like there's a difference. I don't know how fine the line is, but there's a difference between being in control of one's emotions and being like cold hearted and dispassionate. like a lack of empathy or sympathy or compassion or anything. That's what this King of Cups. It's almost like a King of Swords, but the King of Swords knows that it's the King of Swords. This King of Cups in reverse believes that it's a King of Cups upright type of energy. So yeah, the levers of judgment, excuse me, it feels like that's more the axis of self. Like, what does it mean about me? What does it say about me? And how have I like personally done whatever? The chariot crossing the devil feels like it's more of like the external, societal, the world at large, and like how things have played out outside of the self. Because the conscious fear being the chariot is almost a question of like, how do we move forward? And it's a question of, because with the chariot, two opposing forces have to unite under the same banner. Now, this chariot is a little different than the usual typical chariot, but it's like, how do we all sort of gather together, assemble together, and there not be any like hard feelings or like, it's almost like the degree of transgression is so extreme that peace could never be an option. And so again, a lot of times the fear turns to, oh, well, we may be subjected, or I may be subjected to the same cruel mistreatment that I once inflicted upon others, or whatever. Especially with the fear of justice going up, right? And so we subconsciously choose to perpetuate because because it's so difficult to imagine, or because we can't imagine things working out any different. We double down, triple down, quadruple down, quintuple down, and we keep doubling down until an end. And then on the other side, we have the Ten of Cups as something of importance, but it's restricted by the Queen of Pentacles. So again, in moving this forward, it feels like the Queen of Pentacles is an action. The Queen of Pentacles is something that produces a change in real life, in the real world, in some substantial way. And it needs to align with the Ten of Cups. So it's more than just words, more than just thoughts and prayers. It's more than just the things that don't really require anything of us. Also, with the Queen of Pentacles, it's like we have the resources to do whatever it is that we need to do. She like shares what she has and it multiplies. But again, if there is a fear of things not being able to be made right, or like if we feel that like, well, I'll never be able to repay this kindness or to make right all my wrongs again, for us as people, it seems that we choose to like double down because I can never make up for everything. I'm just going to continue to go about business as normal. Like I'm watching a show and there's a mother that feels like she's failed her daughter, but because she doesn't want to feel like a bad mom or whatever, she just continues to not make any attempts to bridge that connection or understanding, or to, yeah, I don't know. Like, I know what I'm trying to say, I'm sure. So the environment is the Nine of Cups, which is the path of ascent. Y'all remember? Oh, the Fool is right here. The briefcase of the Fool sort of being opened. It's this trunk that reveals all 9 cups. No, the Fool came out in reverse. Maybe this is just that it's feeling like the innermost desires, or just, I guess, desire in general. The path of ascent being the 9 of Cups, the 9 of Cups being wish fulfillment, the path of ascent could be like manifestation. Like, just like we would manifest a new job, a house, a car, a partner, a move, a sandwich, a meal, whatever. There's no limit to what we can manifest. And because there is no limit to what we can manifest, we don't have to allow these fears, blockages, and restrictions to stand in the way of our asking. We don't have to know how things are going to move forward or whatever in order to desire or in order to manifest something different. And I'm looking at, is that? No, that's the 10 of Pentacles. The 6 of Swords in reverse with the 8 of Swords in reverse. And it was that energy of like us realizing that we don't have to go anywhere and that we already have what we need. But this 9 of Swords can keep us from seeing. Like, this is when our personal thoughts and feelings get in the way of us seeing that we have what we need where we are. Excuse me. What it is to become is the last 3 cards. The Fool in reverse, the 2 of Swords in reverse, and the High Priestess in reverse. There are 2 title cards in this deck, and neither one of them came out. I just realized this whole bottom row is in reverse. And a lot of what's built on top of it is upright. Basically everything that's built on top. Like, there's this bottom row, this foundational row, and then there are cards in the spread above it. All the cards above the foundational row are upright. All the cards in the foundational row are in reverse. The Fool in reverse, the 2 of Swords in reverse, and the High Priestess in reverse. Also, the Empress is in reverse. Up there. I'm kind of at a loss. My brain is like tapped. So this will be it. Because it's like the High Priestess has a knowledge that exceeds the realm of human understanding, human logic, and human reasoning. So sometimes it's like some things can be within our realm of understanding, but outside of what we think of as logical. If that makes sense. It's like the outcome of a situation doesn't necessarily have to be something that we would never expect, but we wouldn't necessarily attribute a series of events as having this conclusion logically. If we applied our logic, it would have worked out a different way. But it's not necessarily entirely unexpected. The Two of Swords is my minor high priestess card. And the Two of Swords comes out like the Two of Swords can be a card of standstill. But for me, sometimes we're at a standstill because we're supposed to be. And in time, the way forward will be made clear or will be made plain. It's basically like when you're talking to the high priestess, and the high priestess is like, I can tell you this, this, and that, but I can't tell you anything more than that. Like the high priestess tells you that she's withholding information. And she may suggest, like, it depends on like how this thing will play out, which will make certain outcomes more likely. But as of now, I can't reveal anymore. It could also be us in the presence of divine timing. And when the thing happens, then all the pieces will come together and we will know what choice to make. The Fool is about trusting one's own internal guidance, despite what it looks like to others. Or the Fool like defies logic. It does the impossible. But there is something within the Fool that gives it the courage, bravery, or belief to know that something will work out. A lot of times, what ends up being the indicator or the revealer of whether it worked out or not is events, time. Time reveals if the Fool was brilliant or foolish. But the placement of these, just like, this is almost like the Two of Swords in reverse is the point of attraction. So this is almost more of a Hanged Man energy. Like the Two of Swords in reverse is almost feeling like someone who is intentionally holding themselves at the Two of Swords in reverse rather than involuntarily ending up there. So it can look like stagnation, but there's a purpose behind it. It's almost like it almost feels like it reverses the polarity on something. Because it's like usually when we're moving forward, it feels like the default mode of intuition is to guide us as we move forward and to provide us clarity on circumstances around us. And if there is something from the past that is relevant now, then the intuition will ping us and maybe guide us to a reframe, to shift our perspective, to see things in a certain type of way for something to open up here moving forward. But it's almost like because of this almost hangman Two of Swords in reverse, taking a voluntary Two of Swords approach, it's bringing these resources in. It's almost like if there's someone that you seek counsel from, or like, I guess if you go to the divine, and if when you pray to the divine and when you engage with the divine, you're like, I need a clue, symbol, synchronicity, guidance, a word to move forward. But instead of like asking for something to move forward, it's just like bringing in the presence of the divine to just like almost like talk. And because the point is to talk, I wonder if there's actually more revealed than usual. And maybe it's also part of our attention, almost like our attention span, um, where it's like we're only focused on the things that we want to hear, or we're more focused. We prioritize more. We divert more attention. Not divert, focus, dedicate more attention to what it is that we believe will move us forward. And so it's almost like we have very selective hearing when it comes to whatever this high priestess type energy is. But when we invite it in for conversation and when we pay attention to all of it, it's like we get a much clearer picture. It's like being less narrowly visioned. It's like usually we have tunnel vision because there's something that we want. And again, the path of ascent is desire, is the Nine of Cups, is things that we want. But usually we're so one track minded about it. Or usually, like, that's so much of our interaction with the divine is like, please, like, let me have this or let me have that, or let this go my way or let that go my way or whatever. It's almost like if there is a person in your life who is there for support, but you only go to them when you need support, like you don't really get to learn that person because you always go to them under the same sort of circumstances. But this is like going to the elder and just asking to listen, or it doesn't even have to be an elder, going to anyone and asking to like hear their life story, to know more. And so then when a choice or decision is made, it's not foolish. And like that's why the Fool is in reverse. This is whatever is happening, it's happening to wisen us up, to substantiate a lot of what is purely like feelings or whatever. To grow closer to the truth of the divine, outside of devils and lovers and stuff like that. Devils, lovers, judgment day, and what can you do for me? Cool. All right. Let's get final cards. It's like, let me, or lend me your ear. That's what it is. My brain said, let me bend your ear. And I was like, wait. No, it's like, lend me your ear. That's the, like, okay. I guess I'm just putting these in here any kind of way. We got reversals now. That was not intentional, but I guess it works. And with the whole foundation being like in reverse, the world card at the bottom, with the foundation being in reverse, or that bottom row being in reverse, it could be more uh, internal, more subconscious, more disconnected from the events and circumstances of today's and tomorrow's. I guess even yesterday's in a way. It's not related to what's happening around us or what we desire in a physical sense. Two of Wands is the final card with the Page of Cups in reverse. Two of Wands upright with the Page of Cups in reverse. It feels like with the Page of Cups, there's this excitement to like get to know somebody, but there's almost this like blindness to the totality of who they are. It's blinded by the fantasy. It's blind. It's like honeymoon, puppy love. That's it, right? Puppy love, puppy dog love, puppy love, honeymoon phase type. And so it doesn't necessarily see clearly and fully because it is so enraptured by whatever's in front of it. The Page of Cups could also be like imaginings. Oh, look, there's a Queen of Pentacles. There's a Queen of Pentacles. But with the Two of Wands is almost more like a, I want to get to know all of you type energy. Like the good and the bad, and the ugly, and the things that you hide because you think that it may make someone not be whatever or whatever. It gets a clearer picture. Like the Two of Wands is in for the long haul. The Two of Wands is in for the ride. The Page of Cups is in it as long as everything is rose tinted. And then the Page of Cups is like, oh, well, this isn't my fantasy. This isn't my fantasy. I'm out of here. What time is it? It's almost 6 o'clock. I'm gonna give it 3 shuffles, and then I'll pull the card at the top of the deck because this deck is massive. I'll take these. It's massive and Death in reverse. I'm reading the book because I'm more interested in what it says about the reversals. Honestly. You are holding on to something that should be released. By forestalling its natural death, you clutch decay and corruption to your breast. Hope cannot thrive while you're grasping the past. You will linger amongst the ashes of yesterday and miss the doorway to tomorrow. And the cards that came out: 3 of Swords in reverse, 4 of Wands in reverse, 6 of Cups in reverse. I guess with the context of Death in reverse at the bottom of the deck, this would be the past that we hold on to or that we grip onto. This is very like hindsight is 2020, very nostalgic, very, it could be like because the best of what we've experienced or be. This is like it's whenever, like let's say someone, this is when we put the hope of tomorrow on the shoulders of yesterday. Because yesterday is all we know, it's all we've experienced. So how sometimes if we get word that something is gonna whatever, like we go to yesterday and we sift and sort through yesterday and we find what may be the closest to whatever we're looking for. Like, let's say someone's like, you are gonna have $1 million idea, or like you're going to meet with someone to discuss an idea, and then it'll be $1 million. We go to the past. We look through our ideas of the past. Which one of these thoughts or ideas or projects was like my $1 million idea, and we put again like the hope of tomorrow on the shoulders of yesterday. But like it could be something completely brand new. Like we could go somewhere, meet up with somebody, be in conversation, talking about whatever, and then it's like, hey, why don't they do this, or why doesn't somebody do whatever? And then like that's the $1 million idea. The $1 million idea we haven't necessarily had yet, but we continue to go to the past to find the closest thing to whatever. Not always, but sometimes. But it's like with all of these cards in reverse, it's like, well, the truth of the matter is whatever was in the past didn't work out. It's not to say that things can't change or haven't changed, but we cut ourselves off from the future. This is also the mind's ability to selectively remember certain things. And that could be for good or bad. Like maybe we only remember the bad things, maybe we only remember the good things. But either way, unless we remember in totality, it's skewed and incorrect. I guess towards the end, it's a lot of that. Not seeing things properly because of how we feel. Page of Cups in reverse, Two of Wands upright. Diablo Tarot says it's because of the past. Again, my vibes speak louder than my words. We'll do one more. Oop. I honor how I want to feel. My vibes speak louder than my words, and I honor how I want to feel. Bottom of the deck. When I focus on my inner light, I see the world through the lens of love. Then there's like a moon down here. I think regardless, it's like whatever we focus on inner mostly is the lens through which we view things. And when we view things from a certain viewpoint, vantage point, or through a certain lens, we risk not seeing things as they are. You could focus on your inner light, view the world through the lens of love, and think that it's just like it's not seeing things as they are. So anyway, I hope you all have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path, journey, and way you find. This has been. Oh, I was also going to say, like, astrologically, in my Vedic chart, I'm in the K2 Antardasha of my Rahu Mahadasha, which means I'm in this period of time, this North Node period of time in my life, right? But the sub period, or the influence that is the strongest or most whatever during that major period, is the South Node. And I watched some, like when I found out, I was like, oh, let me watch some videos. And there was a lot of videos like, oh, this is going to be the most challenging, most difficult part of your life because blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I went through a Saturn return. If I can go through my Saturn return, I can handle this. I just have to not be afraid to look at things for what they are. and to push myself when I know I needed to be pushed. I don't have to be relentless. I don't have to force myself into anything. I just need to acknowledge things as they happen. And as long as I acknowledge it and do my best, I'll be all right. As long as I don't get caught up in how I want to feel, how I don't want to feel, how I whatever, it should be all right. All right. That's this. Bye.